It's really quite chilly today. I've come down a slightly different route because I want to collect some clematis or old man's beard to decorate the wreath. So I've brought little Neddy down this bit of the field. He's busy hoovering up rabbit poo at the moment. But this is the old man's beard up behind me here. Can't see it terribly well. But I'm going to gather some, and I've bought a bag to put it in and my secateurs to cut some off. So I'll go and have a look and see what I can find. So these are the seed heads of old man's beard. And it sort of festoons, you can see, go right up there. Oh, it's gone a bit dark, but really big clumps of it hanging all over the trees. So I'm just going to cut off a few sprigs to put in the wreath. Here are my little sprigs of old man's beard. Another reason for coming this way is because this is the field just below my house, and this is the entrance to a badger set, and there's one hole here and another one there, over there where Neddy is, another one. Now these are new, or they're sort of currently being used, because obviously this field was ploughed and drilled a little while ago, and these holes are evidently have been dug after that. So you can see it's quite a big... Ned, come here. It's quite a big hole. See if Neddy can demonstrate the size of it. There we go. Good boy. And confusingly, they're sometimes used by rabbits as well. But you can see here, you see those scratches on the ground. Now they look like they've been made by rabbits rather than badgers. They'd be much bigger if they were badgers. But you can see how the ground around these holes has kind of subsided. So badgers can actually be quite destructive on farmland, but on the other hand you have to argue that of course they were kind of here first. So yes, we've got little scrapes here which are made by the badgers and the rabbits, and there is the entrance to the badgers set. I do get badgers in my garden actually, which is sometimes slightly worrying because they're actually very keen on chickens, and they will predate them and do quite a lot of damage if they actually get into the coops. Pretty unforgiving. So it's always a little bit disconcerting to find sort of badger droppings and signs of badger activity in the garden. And actually one time I came down and saw some bedding which had been taken from my garden and had been put down in the set down here, and I'll just show you how far it is from my house to the set. So there's my house over there, and this is where the badger set is, so it's quite a distance. You can see where a mole has been doing its work along here. Great long line of mole hills. But like I said in my previous vlog, I like moles, and it's a good sign that there's lots of worms. You can see here these darker worm casts are where they spread muck, farmyard manure, on the field before ploughing it and drilling it, and obviously that creates, this is the earthworms bringing up, as they sort of process all the muck, they discharge the they siphon out the or they sort of extricate the nutrients from the soil and then sort of spit it out the other end, and you get these beautiful worm casts. And obviously there's lots of worms, which is why there's a mole here. Oh, there's a bit of rabbit fur and a bit more. So what I'm doing is just wrapping these little fronds of seed heads around and through the string and between the pine cones that I did previously for the other wreath. So they've got a sort of, you can see they've got lots of kind of quite robust twiggy bits that you can use for kind of weaving through the whatever you're using to mount the wreath. So it's quite easy stuff to work with, and like I said, I always prefer using materials which you're not actually kind of harming the plant when you take them. You know, it's not sort of detrimental to be taking these seed heads, and nor am I particularly discouraging the birds or anything like that from feeding off them. So they are quite sort of entangled, so when you cut them you have to kind of cut them off in a bit of a lump and then sort of pick them apart once you've got them back. But they are really beautiful, gorgeous fluffy seed heads. So yeah, I'm going to see how it looks with just the pine cones, because they've got a really lovely structure, these seed heads. If it's focusing, but they're really pretty. So I'm going to chickens have heard something. So I'm just going to carry on weaving these into the different spaces, and I'll show you what it looks like once I'm done. So 'tis the season, and I'm going to be making some cookies to cut out and decorate. I think Rosie's going to be helping me actually do the icing later, and possibly even the cutting out. We've just chosen some cutters out of a rather random collection of, I think I got 100 in the end or something, a pack of rather nasty plastic cutters. My nice metal ones are all hanging up on the tree actually, but some of them, they're clearly American because it's a bit tricky to discern what some of the actual shapes are meant to be. Anyway, I'm using my Nigella Lawson feast recipe, which you wouldn't know because obviously I've lost the dust jacket, the spine's broken. It's a real favourite of mine, and you can kind of tell how well I've enjoyed making the recipes by the amount which is actually still on the pages. I think banana breakfast ring is clearly one of my favourites. So these are the cut out cookies from Nigella's book, and yeah, so I'm going to get on and do this. I already weighed out the 90 grams of unsalted butter because I need to put it on the heater because it's really cold in here. And so I've got 90 grams of unsalted butter and 100 grams of sugar. And I'm just going to beat these in the KitchenAid until they're sort of light and fluffy, as you will with any kind of creamed mixture. And then I'll add the other ingredients. It's a kind of more of a shortbready biscuit than a gingerbread biscuit. I'm making a gingerbread house at some point in the next, well, I will try and film it. It's normally quite a traumatic experience for me, but I will try and film it. And so these are kind of more just, like I said, biscuity ones rather than gingerbread ones. So I'm just going to cream the softened butter with the sugar. I'm going to add in an egg. And vanilla extract. There, that's all creamed together. So in here I've got 200 grams of plain flour, and I'm going to add half a teaspoon of baking powder, and that's not right, and half a teaspoon of salt. So that's going to go in now. There we go, that's roughly mixed together. I'm just going to scrape it down if I can find a spatula and mould it together just with my hands. And I then need to just leave it to firm up in the fridge for an hour or so. Actually, I could just leave it out in the kitchen because my kitchen's so cold. So yeah, I just need to leave it to rest for a little bit, and then I can get on with rolling it out and cutting out the shapes. I'm going to be decorating them with buttercream. You're meant to use just glacé icing, which I might do some glacé icing. I'm really not very good at royal icing, which is where my gingerbread game really fails because I always manage to get the recipe wrong, usually because I don't read the recipe correctly. So, you know, it's one of those things, you do it wrong so many times, you then can't remember if it feels right because it's how you always do it incorrectly, or whether you're doing it right. So yes, I'm not terribly good at the whole royal icing thing, so I've got a bit of a different tactic this year. So I'm just going to get together, you know, sort of mould this together and then leave it to rest for a little bit. Oh, no, 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 no. Good boy. Don't steal the jigsaw. That's a good boy. Right, so I'm rolling them out to, that's probably about 1/4 inch thick. And then we'll obviously re-roll the trimmings. No, look, we haven't got that. So we found a house, a tree, a star, a teddy bear, a gingerbread lady, a bell, a stocking, and a Tyrannosaurus Rex. So, should we try and do them as economically as possible? We should get one of each, certainly. No, it's not the jigsaw. brief extricating jigsaw puzzle from the dog exercise. Teddy bear. So obviously you can just keep re-rolling the trimmings, and then they'll be going into any child you have available. Ned, nice. Get your face out of there.
Ned.
Right, who do you want to do? Some just glacé icing here, which Rosie's going to use.
Can I just say I spilled water?
Yes, she's got water down her front. And I'm just going to get some chocolate.
What, melted?
So I've just melted some dark chocolate drops on over a pan of water because I don't have a microwave. So these are little cones.
Oh, so like icing bags?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
So here are the, so we can decorate them on here and then pop them on there.
Okay.
You need to just spoon.
Yeah.
I've no idea how this is going to work.
Well, you know.
That concludes the vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. Next week I will hopefully be doing my gingerbread house, and I've got a few other little bits to be sharing with you. So I hope you have a good week, and I look forward to seeing you next time.